Coffee and Del Mar will be right back after these messages.
Joining us on Coffee and Del Mar is our next guest, Stephanie Coughlin.
Hi, Mary.
And Stephanie has an inspirational story to share with us about a dramatic lifestyle change that she made in founding and in developing her own business as an organic farmer here in the Sorrento Valley area. And if you've been to the farmer's market anywhere in San Diego, you have probably enjoyed Stephanie's produce because she keeps very busy at all the local farmers markets.
I think we covered them all.
And it is a fascinating story because I think so many of us do consider career changes, and you went from an educational background and a teacher to a very dynamic career as a commodities broker, and decided to get out of that. So that was a very big lifestyle change.
It was. It was. Actually, from teaching, I went into the mortgage business, and I had my own mortgage firm for a couple of years until interest rates, those of us that recall, went up to about 22%. And then that became a little difficult. But I remember leaving teaching and going out into the business world where you're not actually collecting a paycheck. It was like having that umbilical cord severed. And if someone does make that sort of a dramatic career change, they have to be a little prepared psychologically for the uncertainties that being on your own definitely has for you.
No, it's different because it's a emotional roller coaster, and I think that people look at people such as myself, who I work freelance, I don't have an employer as such, and they think, oh, how wonderful, you can make your own hours, you can do whatever you want to do. Well, that's true, but you are the only person responsible for anything happening.
That's exactly right. I don't know, maybe you've heard there's a commercial out on KPBS radio these days, and they're talking about the small business owner, how we only work half a day, take any 12 hours.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. In addition to that, you invested in yourself.
Yes, absolutely. I think the way that I best describe it is I took the skills that were developed in teaching, management, organization, articulation, being able to communicate with people, being able to listen to people, and just generally speaking, being in a counseling people business, the skills that I learned from there were transferable to all of my different careers. And of course, as you're on your own, being independent, you don't have the security of that paycheck coming in. Your own personal school of learning gets real condensed. I mean, you either learn very quickly how to make it on your own or you just don't. And because I was in the corporate world for so many years, by the time it came right about that point, and I think this happens with a lot of people classically, is when you start hitting 40, you take a look and you reassess yourself, and you know what, it's like an existential crisis. Who am I? What am I doing? What do I want to do with my life? What's important? And I've had my property here in Del Mar since 1978. I moved from La Jolla Farms Road, which is a lovely spot, but it was already starting to kind of close in. And I took a look around and just said, perhaps there's something I can do right here. This is what I love. This is where I love to be. What can I do here on the property that will generate?
Because you already had a substantial personal garden and producing more produce than you could consume, which is not uncommon as soon as your garden gets
my neighbors saw me
thriving.
coming with the zucchini in the summer and they'd run.
But you also did a business plan to
Yes, I did.
try to anticipate, would there be enough money in this? And I understand it has not been easy.
No, the first 2 or 3 years really tested my determination and my persistence. There were many times when I was very discouraged because financially the reward is not in a financial sense, but being able to be outdoors. The friends that I have made in San Diego County at these farmers markets, the loveliest people. And that's what kept me going for a long time. People truly appreciated having good quality produce grown almost in their backyard. And as I tell people, it's like having your own garden without doing the work yourself. I mean, that's how fresh it is. You know, we just and it's really nice.
Well, and it is all organic, and I think the consumer has some valid misunderstanding about what organic is. We see little signs that say no spray or no this or no that, and we might therefore assume that it's organic, and it's not necessarily.
Well, the way that I describe the difference between organic and inorganic is an inorganic or a traditional grower, for example, here even in San Diego County, when they go to prepare a field for a crop, they will go in and they will inject methyl bromide, which is the chemical that is used for termiting homes, and they will fumigate an entire field, which kills all of the life form in the soil, all of the weeds. I mean, there's absolutely no microlife left whatsoever. And then they will come in, they'll lay out their drip irrigation, they'll lay down their plastic, they'll do their fertilizer injection through the pipe system, and anything that comes up from a fungus to a bug, they'll come along and they'll spray with a chemical. And organic, the whole concept is to build the soil, make the soil alive. And the way that we do it is we actually feed, we started out with spreading earthworms around. We actually feed the earthworms in the soil, which in turn feed the plant, which in turn feed us. So it's a whole natural cycle that occurs without a thing on it. And my place has become such an ecosystem now. Frog ponds. You can't walk anywhere without seeing little lizards all over the place, and we release ladybugs, and it's a little microcosm. It's really sweet.
So you're controlling your insects with other insects.
Right. Right. It's what they call IPM, Integrated Pest Management. And it's just a kind of a fancy term for going back to the way that things should be.
And you're growing and selling to an enthusiastic audience, frankly, lettuce and varieties of lettuce that I certainly never saw growing up.
Good.
And have now learned to love. But I understand a lot of these are European varieties, and
all of my seeds are from very specialty sources. For example, my little turnips that I sell, they're not anything like the turnips that our mothers tried to make us eat when we were little. A traditional turnip seed will run a couple of dollars a pound for the seed. My turnip seed cost me $87 a pound for the seed. So I better end up with a good product.
And how have you developed these resources and found these various things?
Just read, studied. People call me all the time and say, oh, I want to come out and see what you're doing to do what you're doing. Well, and I was like, I give the example, you know, would you go into a corporation and knock at the CEO's door and say, oh, could you drop everything you're doing and teach me how you're doing this business?
I know.
It's study, it's research and development.
And of course, your educational background included biology and botany, and I'm sure this has certainly helped you and held in good stead.
But you have to have predominantly a love, as you know, for what you're doing, because that's the most motivating force.
If you had gone into this with the goal to become rich, I'm sure you knew that that was probably not going to happen and not a realistic goal. And indeed, that's not what you were looking for.
No, it isn't.
Because one of the things that we find that with the fast track career and with the wonderful income, you end up having certain expenses that perhaps aren't necessary when you simplify your life. In the fast track career, you have to have the fast track car, fast track wardrobe, certain social obligations, and once you start to scale back from that, you not only find that you can live without those things, but you probably don't need them. So it has truly been a lifestyle change.
It has, and I've learned to appreciate the simpler things, because there's a lot of stress involved in running your own business, and when you put everything into it. And I've learned to appreciate the smaller things, and to be patient. I think patience is one of the biggest things that I've learned over the last few years.
And the joys, of course, of walking out your own door and seeing the mist rise in the valley and knowing that you don't have to jump in a car and get in any kind of traffic, even our local traffic, which after all is not
Well, I don't
difficult,
know. I've got a few too many dogs right now.
Do you? Tripping over dogs. And I noticed that you, of course, you've become very aware of what the different vitamin benefits are. And I saw a note in your remarks that mustard and turnip greens are the highest in calcium of any vegetable.
And it's a natural source. There's been a lot of media attention lately about calcium, particularly for women. Now that we baby boomers, you know, we're moving along, and they're coming along with the needs that we have. And, you know, our grandmothers ate very naturally and very simply, and a lot of fresh vegetables. And I think that people are beginning to realize that the nutrient needs that we have and that we must have are available in natural forms, and it just doesn't take too much to change your cooking or your lifestyle to include those, and they're wonderfully delicious and very good for you.
So you're happy that you made this change?
I am. I am.
And are people now eating your edible flowers and things? Because this is new and different. I mean, this is not something that...
Well, you know, several years ago, they said edible flowers were a rage, and you know, a fad, and then it would pass. And I completely disagree, because I think that aesthetically, to sit down at a meal, I mean, if you've had a hard day, or if you're grumpy, or your partner is grumpy, and you sit down and you have this lovely little dinner with just a few little flowers around even, it just makes you feel good. You know, whether you consume them or not, it's a pleasure to have a beautifully set table. And there's not only nutritional, but there's medicinal benefits to as well.
How delightful. Stephanie, thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing you at the Del Mar Farmers Market
Yes.
and the Coronado Farmers Market and the Pacific Beach and really all the San Diego Farmers Markets. Thank you so much.